Hey everyone, welcome to Floating 2, the WA Fab YouTube channel, looking to pummel you at any opportunity that we can. My name is Jordan, and we're going into round 3 of this armoury event. We've got Zac again on the right-hand side. I don't believe this is winners. It's just kind of trying to get a little bit of variety on the recordings. And Nathan on the left, running his aggro Viserai deck that we saw last week. And I believe Zac or Nathan, I think one of them rolled double sixes. It may have been Zac. And looking at his hand, he has the potential to do some damage this time around. Candles ticks up. So he could roll Scabbies here. He's running the club this time instead of the claws, which I am a fan of. Club is love, club is life. It's just consistent and it allows you to play a little bit more control-y mid-range. Don't have to take as much damage to get as much damage output. And yep, we are going to roll the Scabbies straight off the bat. Worst comes to worst, he rolls a 1 here, he rolled a 1. Nathan's like, yeah, pop gamblers, do it. So if you are Zac here, you want to arsenal the Barraging Bighorn, as that is one of your key cards in terms of allows you to go again, doesn't need you to, means you don't have to roll scab skins with the right hand. But if you're looking over at Nathan's side at the moment, he's got Become the Arknight, so he's probably looking to set up a little bit of Rune Chance this turn. Or maybe Morven's guys to go a little bit aggro. So I was thinking either Mordred Tide or Morven. I think Morven might actually be the better play here, as his hand doesn't really have anything like Read the Runes to create him like a bunch of Rune Chants. And there it is, Red Morven. Just going to play that, which will create 1 Rune Chant in of itself. And then play something else from hand. I didn't get a good look at his hand, unfortunately. So we'll see that in just a moment. It might even be I'm not sure. We'll find out in a sec. So one thing that we will see from Nathan here is that he loves to run his Tome of the Arknight as well. So that'll be a common, it'll be a card you'll see a couple times here. Okay, so if we're on Nathan's side here, playing the Morvrian into Spellblade Strike and then Rosetta is actually pretty decent here. It does mean you won't have any Rune Chance afterwards, though, so that is something to keep in mind, especially when playing someone like Viserai, who relies a lot on having active Rune Chance. But, it is pushing quite a bit of damage, and while Rhinar does have a lot of 3 blocks, it looks like he is not running any Null Rune either. So actually, it might be Null Rune Gloves. It's a bit hard to tell, unfortunately, but we'll find out shortly. So coming in for 1 Rune Chant and 4 physical. And then there'll be 2 Rune Chants at the back being created after this. 1 from Spellblade Strike and 1 from Viserai's trigger. Blocking 6. I like this from Zac at the moment. And you just take the 6. You take the 2 Rune Chants, take the 2 Arcane, and then take the 2 physical. Because the ideal play here is you pitch your Savage Swing, play the Barraging Bighorn from Arsenal, discard the Beast Within, that will trigger a draw card, and we'll see how horribly this can go. This also has an Intimidate. Oh, yep, Blue Wrecker Romp. That is decent, but not the card you probably want to be seeing here. You probably don't want a blue pitch. You don't want to Arsenal it. So what's probably going to happen here is if Nathan doesn't block 6, I think Zac's going to be very happy with that. He's going to be able to swing with club for 5 as well. Yeah, the thing about Rhinar is he forces these block decisions a lot more in advance, because a lot of these cards are conditional, ignoring the fact that, you're intimidating certain cards away, forcing different block decisions. Things like, if you don't block with 2 non-equipment cards, I have Go Again. and I'm going to come at you for another 5 after that. You just saw me pick up a blue. There are a lot of these interactions that you need to be aware of when playing against Rhinar. And that's just something that's going to come in time. So Nathan does have a decent hand to block this out, to be honest. And yeah, he is just going to opt to block this out. It makes Zac's turn a lot worse, to the point where I don't think Zac arsenals at all either. Yep. So I wonder what the card was that he intimidated. Yeah, and there's the Tome of the Arknight. Yeah, he's just going to opt to play the Tome of the Arknight. Worst comes to worst, it whiffs. It whiffs, but he knows he's going to have a turn of Mordred and read the runes after that. So Zac's probably going to have a bit of a fun time. So there was a decision there as well. He opted not to create a rune chant and just swung, the Rosetta Thorn for 2, because if he created a rune chant, it'd be worse to do that on his Mordred turn. In case he maybe he didn't draw blue, or it's just playing around that, which I rate a lot. Cool. So double pulping and Wrecker Romp in hand. This is actually looking out to be a very good hand from Zac here. So you play the pulping, play one of the 2 pulpings, pitching the Wrecker Romp. And so you're going to have go again here, because it's going to have dominate more than likely. Yep, breaknet battery. Breaknet battery, that's beautiful right there. So it's going to intimidate a second card. It's going to have dominate and go again. And it's going to be coming at him for 10. And those are not the cards that Nathan wants to block with. Oh, Lord. He's just looking at the other 2 cards in his hand, Amplify the Arknight, and I couldn't check the other one. Might be another Read the Runes, but regardless, Read the Runes blocks for 2, Mordred for 3, but Mordred is the key card that you really don't want to, throw away for next turn, as that's going to be a setup turn. So it's kind of a rough hand for Nathan, whereas Zac's kind of swim pretty happily at the moment. He's going to have go again. He's just going to use the Tunic instant ability, gain a resource, and then swing with his club for 5. And yet Nathan's going to opt to block for 2. Going to be taking 8 here, I believe. I think that's a red Ravaging Beatdown. Oh, it's a yellow. Okay, 7. Yep. And then club. And then he's going to have the second No, he's just playing the second pulping, which does intimidate the last card and do 6 damage. But the efficiency of that is a little worse, because now you don't have a pulping and arsenal, which is kind of like one of your key cards to push damage. So even just swinging the club there, forcing him to block with Mordred, if he does block at all, you're doing 1 less damage, but forcing that extra decision on him. And yet, here we go. The Mordred pitch, read the runes, creating 8 rune chants. So Zac has a bit of an interesting hand. He's got an E-Strike in hand. He's going to tick up his Tunic. He's got 2 E-Strikes in hand. So what he could do, E-Strike, go again. I was going to say then E-Strike, go again. Oh, sorry, E-Strike for 7 or E-Strike, draw a card. But I think he just wants to kind of do a bit of split damage, save the other E-Strike for later. Block for 4, take 1. Whereas, like, on Nathan's side, we see a Spellblade Strike and Oath of the Arknight. Oh, yeah, no, he did. Wait, was that triple E-Strike? Okay, then that's E-Strike for 7. So Nathan's got an interesting hand himself. Spellblade Strike, Mordred. I think that's Sonata. So Nathan's probably going to take all this. So we can have, like, a big hand, a bit of a bigger hand. He's going to pop his Bloodsheath Skeleta to get an extra 4 cards out of his Sonata. Because the way he plays his deck is very much so for value. Yeah, going to 21. That makes sense to me. So Actually, is that a Spellblade Strike? He's got a Rune Flash in hand as well, so he's already got inbuilt Go again. This is going to be a very interesting turn. So what I've recently picked up Viserai myself, and there's a lot of these interesting, interactions and decisions that you make as you kind of plan out your turn. The ordering of such. Yep, does pop the Bloodsheath to play Oath of the Arknight, which does create one rune chant straight away. Interesting. He's going to save the Mortar Tribe for another round. So he's going to come in for a Rune Flash and then probably just Bramble for value. I kind of like this, actually. So I think that's a red Oath of the Arknight. So that's a Rune Flash for 7. Go again. And 9 rune chance. This is kind of hot. I like this. Now the question is, if you're Zac, do you take an opportunity to block this out? Because if you're looking at your hand's interesting. With Scabbies, your hand could actually be really good in terms of you play Savage Swing, discard 1. If you discard the Mascot, that's even better. And then you swing with your club afterwards. But we'll see how this plays out. So this is definitely one of those decisions. It's like a pivotal moment in the game. Nathan's opted to set this point in time. Yep, just taking to take the 9 rune chats. Yeah, if he doesn't block this, this is 5 or 7 damage if it's blue or red. With Go again, and then you're going to be taking another 5. 1 from the rune chant, and then 2 and 2 from Rosetta Thorn. That's a lot of damage. This would put him below 10 HP. So he's going to opt to block with 1 card. And actually just fully block this. I kind of like this. Wrecker Romp, yep. So if you're Nathan right now, do you put Mordred in the arsenal or do you put Plunderon in the arsenal? And I think he is going to put the Plunderon in the arsenal. Yep, keeping the Mordred for next round. Try to have like a bigger rune chant round as well. Rolls Scabbies just for the fun of it. Probably just going to pitch and swing. Oh, he can't. It's Massacre. Yeah, he's going to arsenal. Just having a little bit of fun, keep. I think one thing that people got to realize as well when playing these sorts of games is sometimes you'll get a little tilted with how things are turning out. The best thing you can do is do something that'll keep your psyche up. Take every little win you can. So rolling Scabbies when it's not going to affect you at all, go for it. Have some fun. But at the end of the day, like this game's all about fun. That's what every game's for. But I don't know if he's going to be prepared for what Nathan has coming to him. So he's going to play Mortartide, Plunder Run. Or Plunder Run then Mortartide, sorry. Because Plunder Run doesn't actually create any rune chance. There's no point ordering it like that. So create 1. Going to 2 rune chance. He does have Morvrian in hand as well. So he's going to play a Morvrian. Pitch a Morvrian, Singeing Steelblade. And then probably Rosetta for 2, 2, and 2. Or potentially more rune chance, seeing how it goes. So if we add this up, it's going to be 4 rune chance, 1 arcane from the Singeing Steel Blade, and 7 physical. So 12 damage in total. If it hits, draw a card. So more than likely, Zac actually has a very big decision to make here. He can block 4 with equipment, and then 1 from hand, which would actually cover this up. He still gets to have a really good turn next turn. He's still got Massacre and Arsenal as well. And I think that's the better way to go about it. Block 4 from equipment, block with one of the Savage Feasts, Pitch Pubble, and then Blood Rush. Discarding the other Savage Feast. But instead, opting to take a bit of a more passive play here. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this, but I kind of respect the play here. I do like it. He did just Blood Rush off of Tunic's resource. So still going to be somewhat efficient, but I feel like he could have had more. So he's got no resources floating. The Smash Instinct is yellow, Breaknet's red. So if you're him at the moment, what I think you actually do is you pitch the Smash Instinct and the Breakneck and play the Massacre from Arsenal, which will intimidate again, and come at him for 10 damage, I believe. It's not a terrible turn either. Nathan having a read of the card, because Massacre is not a very common card in Rhinar decks, but when it's used, you feel the effect. It can be very gross, but I love it. So Nathan's got a few decisions here. He's got a Morven and an Oath of the Arknight in hand at the moment. I can't see what the other cards are. As he, one was, I mean, the other two were intimidated. Kind of makes it very awkward. And that's what Orion's all about, making these awkward hands. One thing to note as well, though, is that Zac still does have his headpiece and his boots. Like Arcanite can still block one more time. Scabby's has full block left on it. Tunic can block as well. So he's not in a terrible position by any means. If Nathan does block with the 2 cards left in hand, he blocks 5, takes 5. I don't see a reason for him to block with equipment here, as there's no on hit effects. Maybe save it for potential command and conquers, that sort of thing. But he is opting to block for 2 with the equipment and going down by 8. Wants to play a full card hand, very respectful. Zac not in the best spots at the moment. I think not running Null Rune as well kind of makes this very difficult. So he's going to play a Morvian into Drawn to the Dark Dimension, which create 1 Rune Chain afterwards. He does get to draw a card that has Go Again. So the Go Again can be very scary here. Although I think if you're Nathan, you probably want to just Rosetta Thorn afterwards. You might pitch to create an extra Rune Chant, and call it a day. And the thing about Drawn to the Dark Dimension as well is it's very easily blocked. So it's That's going to be one rune chant. He's going to draw another card. No go again, though. But I guess he's happy just to cycle out his hand a little bit. Uh, I guess the other thing is he just wants to strip cards out of Zach's hand instead of um, just doing guaranteed damage at this point in time. Yeah, and I think Zach's kind of ready to do a little bit of damage himself. So he's got an interesting hand. He's got barraging, sigil, and barraging. So more than likely, he's going to play the red barraging, pitch the blue barraging to swing with a club, which is going to be 4 or 8. Again, just forcing this awkward block coming out from Nathan. It's just the way that Rhinar plays. And he's going to arsenal the sigil, keeping it for a tight spot later on down the line. And if we look at Nathan's hand at the moment, he's got reduced to rune chance, which is kind of awkward. He's got plunder. Oh, actually, I think it's Dread Tip Tech and Sonata in hand. The banish card, I'm not too sure about at the moment. But unfortunately, not having that rune chance kind of makes the reduced to rune chant a little worse. So he's considering, does he just take the damage here and then play, or how he goes about playing this round. If the banish card was a blue, the Sonata for pitching 2 for the Sonata might be an idea as well. Okay, so it's a Spellblade Strike, sorry. Yep, blocks for 3. And then Sigil of Suffering from Arsenal. So that will fully block it. And so Zac is running Null Rune. There's no Gambler's Gloves. And he had 1 floating pitch to cover the Sigil. And so he didn't take damage. That's a smart play from Zac. Zac's drawing in a lot of his life recursion at this point. He still has a few of these barraging beatdowns as well, just to have these, pitch swing turns. And this is what we're going to see. So it was become the Arknight, the banish card. So we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4. That is a massive whiff for Nathan. Super unfortunate. And I unfortunately don't think he's going to do much else. He might just swing for 2. Yeah, that's just really unfortunate. If you're Zac at the moment, I think you could be pretty happy with how this is playing out. Yeah. So, yeah, swing for 2, arsenal the defense reaction. All right. So if you're Zac, you're doing one of 2 things here. You're playing the barraging beat down, guaranteed. What you could do, even, is roll scabbies, because your potential damage outputs could be quite high. You'd be doubling your damage. Or maybe not. I think you just play the hand. I'll take it back. I was doing the math completely wrong. Ignore me. It's okay. Because he's got 2 Yellows and a red in hand. He doesn't have Tunic Resource quite yet. If he did, this would be a different story. But pitching the Sigil here to play the Savage Swing, discarding the Smash Instinct, intimidating 1 more time, and if Nathan opts to not block with either of those cards, then sorry, if with 2 cards, then that will be doing 8, potentially 10 damage. I think a common theme we've seen in the last couple of games has been explosive early game turns, and then very much so a bit of a slobber knocker towards the end. And this is not the hand that Zach wanted to see. That's not terrible. That's not what Nathan wanted to see either, unfortunately. So if you're Zach, I think you block with the Sand Sketch plan, defense react with Fate Foreseen, or actually start using equipment. I like it. Wrecker Rump on top. Probably keep that on top because that's good. That's good resource as well. Works well with Reckless Swing. Yeah, no, he's covering this as well. I like it. And he's just going to go back to barraging Beatdown into Swing. We call it the true combo because it happens every time. Yep. So I think this is a yellow one. So 4 or 7 damage. So the Mordred was the one that got banished away. He's got a Sonata, become the Arc Knight, in hand at the moment. So yeah, you block with the Time of the Arc Knight and become the Arc Knight. Just cover that up. You're probably just going to create some rune chances turn and then pass. And yep, Zach has set up that Reckless Swing in the arsenal. He's sitting pretty, feeling pretty happy about that. Mordred Tide Sonata. So, I mean, this will still create 2 rune chance, so it's not terrible. And potential, like, do some damage this turn as well. Pretty high. There we go. There's the hit. He's going to take the Dread Chip Tech. Unfortunately, he doesn't actually get too much off of this. Because drawing the Dread Chip Tech doesn't really mean you can do anything. He can't even pitch for Grasp of the Arcanite here. It's quite unfortunate when Mordred Tide does its job too well. And Zach opting to play the Bonehead Barrier. Yep, blocking for 4. So we'll block 1, the 1 Arcane incoming. Cool. Yeah, Nathan just keeping the rune chance, so his reduced rune chance is now free, which is in the arsenal. Zach has a choice. He can pitch and Command and Conquer, which would be really good. Zach just wanted to read what Dread Chip Tech actually does, as it is not often that it's played, but it's just one of those cards that's very solid at all times. So, Genetics, Zach has a choice. He can pitch Command and Conquer, which isn't bad by any means, or he can roll Scabbies, Command and Conquer, and Club if he succeeds. The issue is he's running Null Rune Gloves, so the consistent play, what all the time, is to just pitch and Command and Conquer. You're keeping Reckless Swing because you're playing a little bit more defensively. And, yeah, this mid-rangey sort of Rhinar that we're seeing this game in comparison to the last is quite different, and I think it's suiting Zach a little bit more. And if we're looking at Nathan's hand as well, he's got Morvian Skies, Read the Runes, Dread Triptych. And I don't know about the last card, unfortunately. Didn't quite catch it. But either way, he's got a couple of 2 blocks. He's got a couple of 3 blocks. I think he's got a couple of 3 blocks anyway. Otherwise, he may have to block with 3 cards here to defend the reduced rune chance. So it was perfect time for a Command and Conquer. Nathan taking a while to think about this. And it looks like it's another Read the Runes. Oh no, it was Amplify the Arcanite, so he is going to choose to fully block it. Probably going to opt to just create more rune chance on his turn. So what he can do here as well is play more Rune Skies and then play Read the Runes, create 3 rune chance, and be done with it. I think it's yellow Read the Runes. Oh no, it was red the Read the Runes. Okay, no, just wants to keep the more Rune Skies because I guess that's one of his go cards. Yeah, his power cards. Okay, if we're looking at Zac's hand at the moment, he's actually feeling. Actually, this hand is pretty decent. So what he can do is pitch the Sigil and the Pummel, because it's yellow Pummel, for 3, play the Alpha Rampage, discarding the Massacre, which will intimidate 3 times. This is the perfect turn for this as well. I mean, I say that, but theoretically, Nathan could take all of this damage if he really wanted to. Well, that does put him in reckless swing range, so there is definitely some thought process that comes into this at this point. He has got the reduced to rune chant in Arsenal as well, so it's going to cover some of the damage, bumping it up to 6 rune chants, and that is well blocked. And if we're looking at Nathan's hand, Sigil of Suffering, Wolverine Skies, I think a Spellblade Strike as well, so he might just... Oh, Rune Flash, that's even better, because that's got inbuilt Go again. If it hits, create 3 rune chants. So more than likely, I mean, this is a difficult decision. Because if he doesn't block any of these rune chants, he will just die to Rosetta Thorn. 6 physical, 4 physical after 6 arcane. So if you're Zac at the moment, you know you've got a defense reaction in Arsenal. What you could do... Oh, he's going to take it all? This is interesting. He doesn't quite die, but what he could have done was pitch the barraging beatdowns. So I think he's gone through most of his reds to cover that, and then reckless winged. But the coverage with the boots is fine as well. The issue is here, he needs to pitch the Beast Within at this point, because he could kill himself off Beast Within, potentially. It's going to count him for 1, 2, and 2. So you pitch Beast Within. Yep. Cover 2 Arcane, take 1 from the Rosetta. And then you've got 2 physical to cover now. Yep. And you block with the red barraging, which is fine. Well, bit of a knock on the camera. But we're okay. Still set up. Oh, it looks like it was double red barraging. That's just really unfortunate. I take that back. So here's the issue. Sigil of Suffering just wins if Nathan draws it. But it doesn't look like he did, thankfully for Zac. Still in this game. Yep. And forcing out 2 cards from Nathan. He's going to be pretty happy with that, to be honest. But the Arcanic Crackle is going to come in for a little bit here. So he's got an interesting decision. He's got to clear one arcane, which looks like he's pitching the Alpha Rampage for, and then he's gonna just play Bonehead Barrier straight up. Yeah, I don't know about this, man. I feel like you pitch the Bonehead and block with the Alpha Rampage. Did he roll a 4? He rolled a 5. It's ridiculously difficult to see on that dice. Sorry, I'll let Zac know for future reference as well. I think they're just confirming the rules at the moment to see if he can Bonehead in response to Arcanic being played, which I believe he can, as priority is passed, as you declare an attack, and then priority is passed, nothing in response, cool, attack goes through, attack starts being played. Yeah, it looks like that was fully covered, so I think Zac lucked out with that roll. Maybe not the most efficient thing, but hey. That's okay. Sand Sketch Plan into Command and Conquer, again, threatening whatever Nathan put in the arsenal, which I think may have been a plunder run. And there's that Sigil of Suffering we're talking about. However, Zac has one floating, so it's no longer going to kill him. Also, they can't block with defense reactions this turn. And yeah, that is the plunder that's gone. That was a really well timed Command and Conquer from Zac, as Nathan's hands looking pretty grim at the moment. Yep, just going to pitch swing with one of the reduced to rune chant because it threatens lethal. So you got a bit of an interesting decision here if you're Zac. What you do here is you block with the Beast Within, because if you discard it via Alpha Rampage, you die. You've got that Crazy Brew, which I think wasn't expecting to see at this point in the game. Play the Alpha Rampage, discard the Pummel. I think you're in a happy spot, to be honest. You're intimidating once just from Alpha Rampage, but that's still 9 damage. However, that does put him in range for Sigil, and I think like it feels Zac at the moment. I don't know how hard you play around Sigil, to be honest. Because at that, like, I think he is playing around it. Ooh, oh, he's going to go for the pummel. Ha ha ha. He's not quite playing around Sigil. Yep, and unfortunately, that's going to be his reckoning. And yeah, that's game. So Nathan takes it in a close game. A couple of missed decisions again from Zac, but this is what we're all about. We're all about learning what your potential lines could have been. Also, I think at that point, if you're thinking about playing around Sigil the entire time, you're not going to have any sort of pressure at all. And you need to strip cards from his hand, so I don't think that was the incorrect decision at all. Either way, that's going to wrap up this week. We'll catch you guys next week.